Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to create a simple tip calculator app with React.js. On my left side here I have an empty directory inside my editor, and on the right I have just a Chrome browser. So here in my editor, in this directory, I will open terminal, and the first thing we are going to need is to create an empty React app. And you can do this by running npx create React app, and to run this, to create the app inside the current directory, you just add a dot. But I don't use personally npx, and I use yarn because it's faster. And then you just need to change this to yarn create, then React app, and like this. And it's a little bit faster than npx, so this is what I prefer. But if you don't have yarn or you don't want to use yarn, you can go with npx. Alright, so now everything is installed, and let's see. Let's run yarn start so we can get a preview of our app. Yeah, everything looks nice. Now let's see. Now let's open source and let's open app.js. And let's see, I will close this file browser and terminal, and let's get rid of all of this. So we'll just have an empty div. We don't need this logo here, so I will remove it. And now let's start by putting the elements that we are going to need. So we are going to need an input for the bill. So let's say that it will have a placeholder of 0.00, and here we'll place a label for this input. Let's say it will say bill total, and let's get rid of this. And yes, and the next thing will be a tip size or tip amount. So let's do tip and another input with same placeholder. Let's do 0.00. Yes. And well, let's maybe now add some styling. So let's go to app CSS, and I think we can just remove this basic CSS that we got from create React app. And now let's add our CSS. So let's do, I really like dark modes, so I will go with dark colors. So let's do background, and let's do hashtag 012 like this. And default color for the text will be white. Yes. Now labels, and labels should be display block. So they will take the whole line here from the left to the right. And now let's see. Now we need to style a little bit our inputs. So let's do input, and just maybe add the type of text, and let's make them almost transparent. So let's do background of RGBA, and let's do maybe white. So 255, 255, 255, and 1. And this is white, but we want to change it to almost transparent white. So let's do 0.1. Now let's remove the border. So let's do border 0. Yes. Now let's maybe add some basic padding on the body. So let's do padding here of 20 pixels. Yes. Now on the each input, let's maybe do a margin bottom of 10 pixels. So we'll have some spacing here, and color inside inputs should be white. So let's do FFF. So if we put something here, it will be white. We can maybe make this those inputs transparent. Let's see how it will look like. Yeah, I think it looks okay. Now for the labels, I would like to have uppercase letters. So let's do text transform uppercase. Yes, and let's do font size. Let's make them smaller. Let's do 0.8 rem, and let's make the input text bigger. So let's do font size, and let's do 1.4 rem. Yes. Maybe we can put it more together. So let me inspect this one, and let's see. In my console, I can see that this label ends here, I can actually do line height to make it smaller, 1 rem, even smaller, let's do 0.8 rem, so it will be close to each other, smaller, 0.5 rem, yes, I think this will work. Now let's add some little bit of padding from the left side, padding left, and maybe 5 pixels, 5 pixels, that's too much, maybe just 2 pixels, yes, maybe even this is too much, let's do 1. Right, so we can edit those. Now we need a place to make a summary of our result. So let's go to app.js, and underneath let's add a div with class name result, and or maybe summary, yes. And let's see, in this button here underneath, not button, in this div, I want to have a split option, and here the result. So I will add the div with a class name maybe split, and another with result here inside summary. And inside result I will add another label here that will say the total. So let's do split total, and the value here, let's put it inside span. Let's say it will be 175 for now. And inside split I want to have a label first, and inside this label let's put just split, and underneath I want to have number, how many people we want to split the bill for, and plus and minus button. So let's do div with class name control, maybe we can do a split control, and inside we will have a button with a minus, another button with a plus, and a span with the value. So let's say on the beginning it will be 1 for just one person. All right, now let's go back to our app CSS, and let's style this a little bit so it will look better. All right, so here we have a div with class name summary. Let's start here, summary, and here I will make also dark color, but a little bit brighter. So let's do hashtag 158, yes, and I will add some padding like 10 pixels, yes, rounded corners. So let's do border radius of let's say 10 pixels. And now I want to have this split part on the left side and a split total on the right side. So I'll do display flex, yeah, and now it looks fine. But I want to have a space here in between, and this should be on the right side and this should be aligned to the left side. So let's do justify content and space between, I think. Yes, and that's much better. Right, so now let's fix those ugly buttons. So let's do button, but maybe we can just style buttons inside the split div with class name split. So let's do dot split, and yeah, for the button let's make them rounded. So it's border radius, and if you may want to make border radius rounded, you can just do 999 pixels and it will always be rounded. We'll just remove the border like this, and well, it's almost rounded. The problem is that the plus sign is really big in width, so I will make the buttons width of 25 pixels, and let's see, maybe let's change it to just 20, and same for the height, let's do 20 pixels. Yeah, now they are rounded. All right, but let's see, we have split control, inside we have buttons, but let's say that inside the split control we have also a span with this value here in between for how many people we want to split this bill for. And let's add some padding. So first let's do display inline hierarchy. We can do block here, and for the split control we can do display flex, yes, and everything looks fine here. Now let's add some padding here on the sides. So let's do padding 0 on the top and the bottom, but let's do 10 pixels on the sides. That's too much, let's do 5, maybe even less, let's do 3. Yes, that's better. And now the spacing between labels and inputs here is okay, but here is not, it's too close to each other. So we have labels, line height of half rem, but for our labels inside the summary, we will change this. So let's do that summary label, and let's do line height of, let's do 1 rem, and let's see. Yeah, I think that's much better. For the whole summary, I think those numbers should be bigger. So let's do font size of 1.4 rem. Yeah, I think that's better. Now the problem is that this one is not aligned, but we have flex here. I think we can do align items center. This didn't help. Let's see. Maybe justify items center. No, this didn't help either. Okay, this is not inside summary. I should put it inside split control. Now it's much better. All right, the labels could be more grayish and not white. So for all labels, I will change the color of those to RGBA, and I will do white, but not 100% white, but instead I will do 50% white. So they are 50% transparent here, here, and here. And maybe let's make them more visible. Let's do 70%. Yeah, I think that's better. Maybe 80. Yeah. And now I think those numbers can be even bigger. So let's see, summary here. Let's do maybe 1.7 rem, and the labels can be a little bit smaller, 0.9, 0.8. Yeah, I think this will work. And the text here should be aligned to the right, or should it be? I don't know, but we can add dot and 0, 0. So let's go to the app.js. Let's do dot 0, 0. This is better. All right, so I think we are done. No, let's also fix the color on the buttons. Let's do background color, and here I will do hashtag 38D, and the color on the signs should be white. I think that's much better. So now we are done with styling. Now let's implement so it works if we change something here. Right, so let's see. First, we are going to need to use state for this and this. So let's see. It's bill total and tip. Let's do const, and let's say bill, and set bill for the first one, and it will be use state, and default will be an empty string, and for other input it will be tip, and set tip equals use state, and let's say that default will be 10%. Yes, and now we can use those state values. So on the first one, let's put value equals bill, and on change, as always, we will do, let's put it on the another line. On change, we get an event, and with this event, we will do set bill with event target value. Yeah, so now if we do something here, it still works. Yes, it does. And now for the tip, let's do value equals. Yeah, so we get 10% here. And now we also need on change. I will put it on another line, and let's do event. And as above, let's do set tip event target value. So if we change something here, it still works. But here for the tip, I would like to do that even if I put, I don't know, 10% or just 10, it will change to 10%. It will add this percent sign. So instead of doing this on change in line, I will put a function here, function handle tip change, and it will take an event. And let's see, by default, it will do set tip event target value, and we could just replace it like this. I will remove this and handle tip change, and it will still work. But now I would do const, maybe not const, but because we are going to change it, let value be event target value. So now we can use value here, but here we can check if the value doesn't include the percent sign So if value, we can check index of %, so we can see if it's somewhere there. If it doesn't exist, so equals -1, then we will add it. So let's do value equals value plus %. So now if we do 12, whoops, it added wrong. So if I do 1, it adds this 1%, it's at this %. I do only 1, I do only 2, and it adds this percentage. But if I add 2 and then 3, it will put 3 after the percentage sign. So to fix it, we can first remove the percentage sign. So let's do replace, and we'll replace percentage sign with nothing. So now if I put 4 and then 5, it first, when I got 4% and added 5 on the end, it first removed this percentage sign, put it my 45, and then add that percentage sign on the end. So now it's a little better. All right, so now let's maybe fix this split with those buttons. So one small thing I forgot: when I hover my mouse over the buttons, I would like to have this hand sign. So I will do a cursor pointer. So I have this hand. All right, now let's create maybe functions for those buttons, or maybe not. First, we need to put this one inside the state. So let's do const, and let's call this split, and set split equals use state, and default will be 1. Now we can use this state here. So let's do just split, and nothing have changed. And now let's fix some functions for those buttons. So let's see. I will add a function split minus and the function split plus. Yeah, why not? All right, and if we click the split plus, we want to add to this one. So let's do set split, because we want to update the split with the new value. And the new value will be the old value, so the existing value. So it will be split plus 1. Yeah. So now let's try to use this split plus. Here we have the button with the plus. Let's do on change, and let's do split plus. Yeah, like this. And let's see if I click, it changes, it increases. So that's right. You can use just a function name, or you can do arrow functions. Oh, sorry. So it will be like this, an arrow function, and inside of the function you do split plus, split plus with parentheses if it's inside an arrow function. But if it's not, you just do split plus without parentheses, because it just needs, on click, just needs a definition or the name of the function. So you shouldn't call it like this, because it will cause some troubles, as you can see here. So we leave it like this. All right, now for the minus, let's also add on click split minus. And now split minus doesn't do anything, but let's add some code here. So, but before we go to split minus, I want to show you something. This works, as you know, but there's a better way of doing this. Instead of using split from here, from our state, we can use it as we can put an arrow function here. And if you put a function instead of value, then as a first param, you get the old value. So let's do old value here. And you should return in this function the new value. So we can do old value plus 1. And this will still work. And you can make it shorter by doing arrow functions. So old value and old value plus 1, like this. And this is the better way of doing this. It's more performance friendly, I think. All right, split minus. We want to do -1 here. So let's do set split. And here I will also do old value, but I will put some more code here. I want to return old value -1, but let me show you something. If I go to 1 and I click one more, it's 0, and then it's on minus, and it shouldn't be possible. the smallest value should be 1. So how can we fix it? We can check if the old value is, we can do if old value is 1, then we will just return 1 because it's the smallest possible. Otherwise, so let's do else, we will do old value minus 1. So this will work. Let me show you. Okay, if I have 1 now, I'm still clicking, but old value is 1, then I'm setting this to 1. And if it's like 6, I click here and it's 5 because old value is 6, then it's not 1, so it goes here, old value minus 1, and it's set it to the new split value. But we can make it simpler. We can do return here, and we can take the max value with math max, and the first value will be old value minus 1, and another value will be 1. Now let's see. Yeah, it still works, I think. Yes, it does. And what this does, it takes the biggest value of those two. And so if this is bigger than 1, then this will be returned. But if it's more than 1, then this will be returned. All right, and this can be also shortened. So I would do like this, and I will get rid of this return like this. Yes, let's see. Yes, it works. All right, so now I think the last part is to just calculate this split total. So let's see. When should we calculate this? We should calculate this when something changes here, or something changes here, or something changes here. Right. So let's maybe create a function that will calculate this split total. Let's call this one calculate split total. That's too long. Let's just do calculate. All right. And to calculate this, we need to put it inside the state. So let's say we'll have another state for this value. So the const, and how can we call this? Let's do split total, and set split total, use state, and default will be, let's say 0 as a number. Yeah, so if I refresh, okay, it's not used yet, so I will use it here. Yes, it's 0. Now, let's see. So the first thing, I would like to fix the CSS to put it to the right. So let me inspect this, and I will actually, let's see, it's result inside div class result, and it's a span. Let's go to CSS, and it's result class, and it's a span. Let's do text align to right. Now if I reload, no, this didn't work. Okay, because span is here. We should do this on the result div instead. So if I do like this, yeah, now it's better. Now let's go to app.js and let's see. So this calculate function should be called when we do split minus, or when we click the split plus, split minus. So if we do those buttons, if we click on those, or if we change one of those. So even on handle type change. So if we change here, let's do calculate. So we call this function here that we are going to update. And also the last one is build total. Let's see, we are changing this inline here. Maybe we can leave it, but we need to add those curly brackets here, and we need to do calculate here because we don't have any separate function for handling this build change. We do it inline. We can make it as a separate function if you want to make it prettier. Handle build change. We get an event and we do those two things, and here we'll just replace with handle build change, and we put those two here. Let's see if it works. Yes, it does, but something goes wrong. Yeah, I think I know what it is. Let's see. We do handle build change, but we don't pass the event here. So we can either add this event here so it works, or we can just get rid of this and just call the function without parentheses, and it still works. Right, and now we can fix our calculate function. So let's see. I will open the console so we can see some console logs I will display. And how should we calculate this? First, we need to take the total. So we need to take the total and we need to add this tip. So the total is inside, the bill total is inside bill and tip is inside tip. So we need to take this times and add this percentage and then divide by this, and then we have this result. So we can do just set split total, and let's maybe put here first the result equals, and we'll use this result here. So result is bill total, so it's bill as a state name, and it's times this percentage. So it's we need to change this to this 10% to 1.1, so we can do this calculation. So we can do 1 and plus, and then we need to take this percentage and divide by 100. So let's do tip divided by 100, and if we take this times this, then we just need to split by this. So let's do divide by split. All right, and now let's do a console log of the result. We can do just result, and let's see what happens. Not a number, it didn't work. Right, and I think why. But first, let's take this one to another constant or another variable. So let's do, I will cut it from here, and I will put a variable here or a constant name. Let's call this one percentage. Yeah, why not? And let's do constant percentage equals this. We don't need parentheses here. And let's show both percentage and result. Now, if I click something, percentage is not a number and result is not a number. Let's also show the tip. So now I'll make it bigger. You can see the tip is 10% and it's everything other is not a number, because we can't calculate, we can't operate on this as a number because it's a string. So we need to fix this first. This is a string. We want to make it a number. So I think the easiest way will be to use parse int. So let's try parse int, and let's do like this. To be sure, we could just do also replace percentage to nothing to get rid of this percentage sign. Let's see. We are parsing the integer. Let's see. It starts here, ends here, and inside we are putting the tip value with replacing the percentage sign to nothing. So now let's see. Yeah, I think it works, but as you can see, when we are splitting, it has like a lot of numbers after the comma. So to format this a little better, we can first transform this result, this number here, to a string. And to do this, we will put this inside the parentheses. Or maybe not, we don't need to put it as a string. Instead, I'll put it inside parentheses, and there's a method called toFix that we can call on the numbers. And we will just do toFix numbers fraction digits too. Now if we change something, it's much better. It puts only 2 numbers after the comma. So we are putting the result here, and I think we don't need this console log anymore. And now let's see, if I put 500 here as a bill, and I change the tip to 15%. Let's see, is it correct? 575, 550. That's not okay. Because if the tip is smaller, then the split total should be smaller as well. But it's not. Let's see what was wrong. Let's console log just the percentage, and let's do 12. That's 1.1. This is not okay. If I do 15, okay, it's like the old value. All right, so I think I know what is the problem. And now if I do 17, it will be 1.15. Yes, it is. It uses the old value, and I will show you why. Here, when we change our tip, we are setting this tip, but then we are calculating. The problem is that this is an async function, and when we are doing this calculate, the value is not yet updated. We need to wait for this to update. So how we can do this? We can actually get rid of all those callings here on those functions, and now our calculate function will not be used anywhere, and the app will not work. But instead, we can use a hook called use effect, and let's see, yes, it has been imported for me, where the first param will be a function. So just put an empty arrow function, and another param will be dependencies, an array of dependencies. So this function as the first param will be run when dependencies will change. And my dependencies will be actually all those three values. So bill total, so bill and tip, so the tip and split like this. And when one of those changes or anything changes here, I just want to call this, run this calculate. And now let's see, if I do $100 or doesn't matter, the tip is 10%, so the split total is okay. If I change this to 15, it's, yeah, $115 or euros, doesn't matter. If we do back to 10, yeah, it's okay. But if we split on 2 people, yeah, then it's 55. If we do 1 person, yeah, then it's 110. Yes, if we do 200, yeah, everything looks fine, I think. Let's do back 100, 20% here, 1 person, yeah, 120, 100 plus 20%, 20%. If we do 2 people, it should be 60. Yes, it is. So everything works, and that's it. So I will just get rid of this console log because we don't need this. And that's it. This was a really simple app. It was just 57 or 60 lines of code. I think it's not even needed in this example to put it inside separate components, because if it's just that much of the code, you don't need to put the code into separate components. I think if the files are under 100 lines, they're okay, but if they grow much bigger, then you should consider putting this into different components, so the files will be smaller. So that's all for today. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Have a nice day and see you in the next video.